Hey there, planner friends. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name's Kate. I'm your host of Functional Planning. In today's video, we're going to cover the pre-planning steps that I need to put in place in order to actually set up my planner. So pre-planning to prepare your planner, that's a lot of P's. Anyway, pre-planning steps to set up your planner for 2025. So the first part of the video is going to be all about defining the sections in your planner so that they work for you. The second part of the video is going to be about process flow. How does an item, how does a task, how does an event flow through your planner? And do you have a place for everything? So without further ado, we've got a lot to cover. Let's go. Let's get into the supplies that you're going to need for today. You're going to need a pen, something you love, something you're comfortable writing with. We're going to be doing a lot of writing today. Your planner of choice, as well as some different types of sticky notes. I really just felt like these were my vibe today, so that's what I went with. I am going to actually take this out of my planner cover for right now. So this is my 2025 B6 Slim Vertical Weekly SterlingInk planner. And if you're curious about the cover, I made a different YouTube video showing you how I assembled this, but it's just a clear PVC cover with paper inside because I like to change out my cover throughout the year. So as we open this up, I'm not going to go through a step-by-step of the actual planner because Catherine has done that over on her YouTube channel and it seems a little redundant. I'm just going to walk through from the beginning to the end how I plan on setting up these pages, make some notes on sticky notes, and then post them in as we go. First things first, the yearly overview. So this is a page that I don't really use a lot. I really like the idea of using a transparent dot or something to kind of check off the weeks as we go. Something like this Cordado color from Cloth and Paper. It's just kind of an aesthetic, cute little thing. I don't really know if I'm going to do that yet or not, but I don't really utilize this page for a whole lot. I used to use it to mark off no school days and holidays and that kind of thing, but in the latest iteration, Catherine included another page, and I think I'm going to capture that there. So I think I'm just going to leave this clean. Up next, we have a 2-page blank spread, and I'm really loving how blank this is. So I think for this section, what I'm actually going to do is put together a 2025 vision/mood board and just things that inspire me. Moving on to the next page, I don't really use this as intended, this goals breakdown page, but what I think it could be really cute for is a nice little bookshelf. I might need to resize these books, but I'm thinking that I might use this to track my reading for the year. I don't really do reviews or anything like that, but I think I could have room for like my stars on the side to see, you know, what books I liked and just kind of capture that. Do I think I'm going to read this many books in 2025? No, but who knows? It could happen. It's just kind of how that looks a little closer. I think that's cute. And I might do movies on the other side. Big question mark there. But it could be fun. I need to look back and see how many books I actually read in 2024 and then see, because I think one of these pages would be enough for books. But just things that I'm excited about. Just some visual stuff. Okay. So if you've been following me for a while, you may know that I do a insert called date of last. What I mean by that is the date that I last had an appointment for one of the kids. I've done this a couple different ways, just writing down the date of their last like dentist appointment so I know when to schedule the next one, or the date of their last physical or eye exam. I kind of like that this is all on one page so I can visualize my time by the year. I also may write out what's going on, but I like that there's 2 slots per day. So I think that I might use this as a date of last. I don't know. This is going to be a question mark for now. All right. So as we get into these quarterly pages, I like that there's a box for every month on the left-hand side. And I always use this for my monthly task list / sticky note dumping ground. So this is the list that I pull from every month when I go to set up my monthly task list. All right. And then up here, in the past, I've written habits up here and then check them off every day. Just a note about habit trackers. If you're not doing something with the data, you might not actually need to track it. I've been tracking the habits that I want every week and every day, but I always forget to go back and update the overall log. So I'm contemplating using this a little differently this year. Instead of having the habit here and then checking things off. In the past, I've also done like a weight tracker down here at the bottom. So I have my beginning of the month weight, my mid-month weight, beginning of the month weight, mid-month weight. And I really liked the way that looked. I think I might do that again. For now, I think I'm just gonna leave it as habit tracking and weight. Because it's kind of cool to see how the habits that you perform every day up here affect the weight if you're like having a weight loss goal situation. So I think I'm gonna leave it like that for all of these. And then the priorities up here, I use this for high level quarterly tasks. So something that might need to just be done that quarter, but not necessarily on a month. And that's gonna repeat for 4 quarters. And then she has the December month in here. If you're looking at this going, what is this? This is a template that I have another YouTube video on, so you're going to want to watch that. Moving into the months themselves, obviously on the months, I'm going to want to capture high-level events, and then I'm going to put a question mark next to this. Sometimes I write tasks on the monthly over here. Sometimes I put it down here. Honestly, I don't use my monthly, but once a week for moving things from my monthly to my weekly view. I don't refer to it that often, so I'm thinking we're just going to stick with high-level events and then some high-level tasks for the months. In my weeks, this is where I'm going to be doing my time blocking. I'm going to put a question mark next to habit tracking because I do that on a daily basis as well, and I do intend on using the daily pages in this. Happy Mail, weekly tasks, and current read, and the meal plan. These are all things I capture in my weeks. And this typically gets laid out by the grid itself is the time block. I'll put some habit tracking down here at the bottom, and then on the sidebar, I'll capture weekly tasks, my current read, my meal plan, that kind of thing. If you have seen my layouts, pretty rigid in how I lay this out every week. Everything I do is templated out to make my life easier. And then this particular book has 367 pages. So I'm going to be using these as daily pages. And if I set up daily pages, then I have 2 extra pages. I really wish that we had a couple extra pages for things like collections, for things like books and that kind of thing, but I can use the front pages for that, no worries. This is really intended just to be a very functional planner that allows me to grab and go. Not a lot of fluff. If I keep up with my personal rings in 2025, I'll probably be using reference lists and things in there. So it's a 1 page per day for me. So this is kind of how I intend on laying out my daily. I did another YouTube video on templates. So I'm just going to write here. So we have the daily schedule, any side quests. That's what I call my to-do list. I think side quest makes it more fun. Habits, meals, rings, daily notes. That's what all's gonna go here. I don't want to spoil all this for you. So in my personal rings, just kind of give you guys an idea of how I set these things up. I haven't had a vision board in the past. In my personal rings, see if I can do a side by side, and there's a lot going on. I just have a date list. And then in my yearly overview, I have actual dates checked off and then tasks to do. What I'm thinking is instead of having it like this, I would put the high level event type things over here. So no school days, early release days, vacation, that kind of thing here. And then use this side here, the quarterly, to actually have, my active task list every month. Then in the monthlies, you can see in my current monthly, it's just high level events. It's not a very large task list because I have a running task list that I keep in here. So I think that I will keep doing that. I just wanted to talk through using post-it notes to pre-plan out the sections because nothing makes me more upset than getting into a new planner and thinking I wanted it laid out one way and then turns out I wanted it another. Take the time, take your sticky notes, and kind of think through this. I had also thought about using this as like a mood board, like how am I feeling each day? But I don't know. Still up in the air. Okay, sorry I had to clean that up for a second. It was driving me crazy. So the second part of today's video is all about workflow planner workflow. This is all about how to actually use this guy to its maximum potential. Okay, so what I want you to do is think about how you're gonna actually use your planners. If you have an item, task, or event that pops up in your life, some people will call this inbox situation. So whatever this thing is that comes in, you need to then ask yourself, is it actionable? Meaning, do I need to take action on it? And if the answer to that is no, then you need to find a place to file it for reference. If the answer is yes, then it needs to go somewhere, right? Once you figure out, is this actionable, and it either gets filed for reference or you know you need to do something about it, think about how much time it takes. So is it less than 2 minutes to actually do it? If the answer is yes, do the thing. You don't necessarily need to write it down. You don't necessarily need to come back to it. But if the answer is no and it doesn't take less than 2 minutes, then you need to process that item. And what I mean by process it, I mean it needs to go somewhere. So it either needs to go to a project plan, such as you get a graduation date for your child and you know you want to have a party for them. So you know that that's going to end up being like this entire project, right? And that's something that, yes, it's going to need action. It's going to need multiple layers of steps, and you need to set aside time to actually think through that before you have the individual tasks that are associated with it. Another way to process something that you know is going to take longer than 2 minutes is to just give yourself a task. So once you figure out if this is something that's going to need an entire project plan or is this just an individual task, then you can ask yourself the question of, is this something that I can delegate? And if it is something that you can delegate, do I need follow-up? Because you might need to give yourself another task. If it's not something that you can delegate, then you need to schedule this. So you can then schedule it in your calendar, meaning go to that daily page, that weekly page, or that monthly page and write it down there. Until you really understand how your items are flowing through your planner, you might not get a good grasp of how to actually use it. So for instance, I know that every April I need to either do my emissions inspection or pay my car tag. So that means, is it actionable? Yes. Does it take less than 2 minutes? No. So I need to process it. That task, is that something I can delegate? Not necessarily. So it's something I need to schedule. I'll actually go into my monthly spread and write down that I need to pay my car tag or my emissions, depending on what that is. So if I go into the planner, and I go to that quarterly page, go to April, I have a place designated for dumping April tasks here. Okay? So anytime I have anything that comes through that I need to do in April, it's going to go here. Same thing for May, June, etc. So once I have things in a quarterly layout, this is actually something that I migrate over every year. And one of my favorite things is the quarterly overview for this purpose. And that's because I can open up the previous year, look at the tasks I had in January, February, March, etc. And then as I move out of this planner and into this planner, I can just transcribe those things over because they happen every year at that time. So once I have my tasks here in my monthly overview, as the month comes up, so say it's just at the end of December and I'm planning out January, I'll go back to this quarterly overview. I'll grab all of these tasks that I need to do and any priorities for that quarter, and then I'll put them here in the month as I set this up. So when I sit down to do my planning for the first week of the year, I will come back to this spread, grab the action items for the month, and then move them into my weekly task as appropriate. So if there's something that, for instance, is due at the end of the month, I might not write it down at the beginning of the month. It may be the second or third week that I actually get to it. But I keep an overarching list of the things that I need to do that month here. And then as I pull tasks in from my weekly, or I pull tasks into my weekly. So you can kind of see how it flows from quarterly to monthly to weekly. Then when I'm in my weekly view, I have a shorter list, a focused list that I can pull from as I move into a daily spread. So that's how my task flow works. That's how my event flow works, and that's how my brain works. So hopefully that made sense. If that's not clear, please let me know in the comments. I mentioned how my task management system flows from my quarterly overview into my monthly overview, and then that flows into a weekly overview, which will eventually end up in a daily page. So one thing that's different between my tasks and my events is that my events get scheduled in my monthly overview instead of ending up in a quarterly page. My quarterly pages are just for high-level tasks, home maintenance, things that I need to take care of, that kind of thing, so I can transcribe it all over at one time. However, my monthly spreads are where that's the assigned place in my planner for when I get a new event. And so what that looks like on a practical level here is, so for instance, these are things that have all popped up. These are all events that I have in December. You'll notice they're on sticky notes, and they're on sticky notes because I haven't confirmed these yet. When I sit down and do my monthly planning, this usually happens the second to last weekend of the month, I'll actually go through and confirm everything that's on a post-it note for the following month when I'm setting it up, and then I'll actually physically write it down into the planner. But as things pop up, they get put on a page flag, they get stuck where they're supposed to go. At that point, it's tentatively scheduled. Hopefully that didn't look really stupid in an overhead view. So all of this stuff is tentatively scheduled. And when I sit down to reconcile the month, these will get converted from a sticky note over into something that looks more like the monthly spread you are expecting from me. So that process really helps me take another look at every event that's on my calendar, ask myself one more time, can I delegate this? Do I need help with this? Do I really need to be spending my time doing this before I commit pen to paper? So those events will then flow from here, once they're confirmed, over into my weeks, and then back into my daily spread. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to comment below and let me know that. If you have any remaining questions, feel free to drop that below too. I'm always happy to make follow-on videos to help clarify anything and help you along your planning journey. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. Ring the bell so you're notified when the next video drops. And of course, I want to be planner friends with you. So follow me across other social media channels so we can continue the planner conversation beyond just today. Until next time, have a great day, guys.